Ik heet Valeska. En ik heet Sonja. En jullie kijken naar Toazted. In English.
Yes, please.
Yes. Niet in Nederlands.
Dat mag ook. Spreek je goed Nederlands?
Nee, niet.
Oké, dan doen we het niet in het Nederlands.
Alleen maar in heel klein beetje.
Dat is wel heel knap. Je spreekt dan een klein beetje Nederlands.
Ja, maar niet goed en het is heel lang geleden. Dus ik heb hier 1990 gestudeerd.
Nee, waar?
Ja, in Arnhem.
In Arnhem, de modefaculteit of?
No, niet mode, muziek.
Ja, maar je hebt daar ook een heel beroemde modefaculteit.
Ja, klopt. Ja, klopt.
Maar dan spreek je nog steeds heel goed Nederlands. Dat vind ik knap.
Nee, mijn uitspraak is niet zo goed, denk ik.
Und du kommst aus der Schweiz, genau?
Ja.
Woher bitte?
What?
Woher aus der Schweiz?
Aus Zürich.
Aus Zürich?
Ja.
Oh, okay.
Ja.
Naja, und dann bist du nach Hamburg abgezogen?
Abgezogen, ja, nach Hamburg. Ja. Ja, genau. Vor 8 Jahren. Ja.
Hey, let's go on in English to make
Yeah,
it really confusing for everyone. Actually, this is one of the questions I had. You guys met on. That's okay. The microphone is great. It only records me, so that's cool. But you guys met at your education, right?
It's not really an education. It's only about 6 weeks. It's a course, and it's more about getting to know young musicians. It's not really like you don't really study there where we met. Yeah.
Because I asked this question because we're actually busy also filming a documentary about music in Europe. Of course, you guys won the ABBA award, so immediately I started to fill in the blanks, and then when I read that you guys met at the education or at sort of the school, I was like, well, in Sweden they have a thriving music scene because they also have a school system there, right?
It's really nice, and I think in Denmark as well. And they get really like sponsored, or I don't know how to say that. Yeah, it's really nice. There's I think in Germany there are some, like we got some money for our first record from the Initiative Musik, which was very nice and very helpful. But I think countries like Sweden, there's way more support from the government, or
But also again. We had Amsterdam Dance Events this week in Amsterdam, and there were so many German artists who have a large following, like yourself, who make fantastic music. So something must be going right in Germany, right?
Yeah, I think there's a very interesting music scene, and it's good to see that people also make it outside of Germany. Like they get to travel and spread the music in other countries, which still it feels rare. We feel really lucky that we got to play in so many different places, and I think it's good if that happens more.
You have your new record out. It took you a while, right? Because about 4 years before it finally came out.
Yeah, but in those 4 years we were first of all touring for 2.5 years. We were touring the first record in just lots of different countries, and then we came back, and then we worked on the album for 1.5 years, like straight. And 1.5 years for us is pretty fast. Yeah, the first.
Well, of course you say this, but I mean, the golden rule in rock and roll is that you have your whole life to write your first album, and then you have like 2 weeks to write the second one, right? Because of all the touring, so it's really hard to make a follow-up album.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was harder than the first one. It's just we always work on every song until we are completely happy with it, and it takes us a lot of time. And also sometimes a song needs a bit of time away from us, and we work on other stuff, and then we get back to it and listen to it again and have a better feeling of what it needs. So I think time helps us a lot when we work. So
Hey, listening to the album, we were here. It's like almost, and of course a lot of people said this, like joining you on the road.
Really, I don't know why. Because really, I think there's only one song, which is about the tour life, and that's called Hotel.
yeah, or not even the tour life. It's
Not
just
even,
about
it's just about staying in a hotel, and that could be also a businessman or
Yeah, but come on, there's New York is there, and
Yeah, but New York is about inspiration and actually staying at home, but pretending to be in New York. So it's just a metaphor for something which is wild, interesting, and maybe not so well known, like Hamburg for us.
Well, from an outsider point of view, of course, if you first read all about you and then listening to the music, then I get like images of where you were when you were on tour. Of course, I can imagine that you're in a hotel and that's the way it is, your tour life is. So, I mean, it's not a weird idea, right, on this album.
Yeah, maybe it's also with when people know what we have been doing in the last few years. It's of course
You can find
yeah.
some things or themes maybe in it, but
Yeah, but that was like the only conscious decision that we made before writing the second album, was that we didn't want, because we had been touring so much, we didn't want every song to be about touring, because I mean it's an interesting life on tour and it's special and intense, but we felt like it would be good to get back into our normal lives and see what subjects we find there. And so, yeah, it was important to us to not just write about touring.
Are your lyrics about what you experience yourself, or are they more abstract?
They always come from a personal feeling, but then they are abstracted a little. Or, I mean, it's not like a
Not like
diary.
yourself.
Yeah, well, some most of them are, but it's not like I give you my diary. It's more like I find something that I think about, or people.
it's maybe the official diary, not the private one.
The coded diary. Yes, yes, exactly.
Hey, of course, this totally spiraled out of control, right? You too. I mean, you got signed by Herbert Grönemeyer's label, and now you're here. You won lots of awards. You had a number 4 hit in Japan. Well, the Youve Award is a big thing here.
Yeah. Yes, it was amazing, and we are still really we still appreciate everything that happens. Also now, I feel with the second album, you somehow start all over again, because it's always, I think every album is like an adventure, and you don't really know where it's gonna take you. So for the first album, that was so nice when the tour was over and we got off stage in 2013 in San Diego. We got off stage and I really thought this was just a perfect chapter somehow. It was really from the beginning. Of course, we had difficulties in the beginning finding a label, and it was struggling, and we played tiny shows, but it built up so nicely and so naturally, and everything felt really good. So that's already like one check you can make and say, wow, this
This
was
will last forever,
exactly.
and nobody can take it away.
Yeah.
Hey, another thing that I loved about this release is that you did a lot of videos with acoustic versions of all the songs. First of all, I loved the cinematography, the way that people filmed it. I don't know, is it one guy who films it, or?
Yeah.
It's mostly one. Yeah, it's actually our percussionist who does these videos.
Great job, because
Yeah.
it looks very good, I think.
Yeah, I think he studied this as well, and what I really like about working with him is that he knows our music so well and knows the feeling, and he really transports this into videos and look and the feel. That's really great. Yeah.
What
I
I
mean,
also
he didn't do the videos to the songs. Like
The
like
music,
the
for
music
the,
videos.
yeah, of the acoustic versions.
Yeah,
He did actually all the visual stuff for this record so far.
Amazing.
I think yes.
Really cool stuff. And also, what I found interesting is that if you listen to the acoustic versions, that it's you can listen to the song as it's stripped bare, so you get down to the songwriting a lot more than the production that you did, and also gives you an idea about the choices you had in the studio and why a song evolved like that.
Yeah, but I have to say that the songs doesn't evolve from acoustic versions to bigger versions. But when I write a new idea or something, I record everything. Like I put drums in it, synthesizers, guitars, bass. So it's never acoustic versions. It's always full band arrangements, and then we have to break them down to the core. So
Because that's very interesting you say that, because
but it's interesting because I think you see if a song works in a small version, then you can be happy because it's maybe a good song.
well, exactly, that's what I mean. I mean, every great song, if you break it down, you have to be you should be able to sing it along, or you have to be able to mime it along. I mean, even I don't know, like the Firestarter for the Prodigy. If you break it down and you just have a guitar, it's still a great song.
Yeah.
And that's apparent on the music that you put out acoustically as well. So it's for me, it was a really interesting trip. Hey, the production. Did you take a lot of time to do this?
Yeah, always.
A difficult process?
Yeah, because we turn everything around 100 times and listen back to it and leave it for a few weeks and come back to it. And it's always a very long process, and we even change like whole arrangements sometimes, or we threw songs out and write new songs. So it's always a very long process.
What I also like about the way, when I checked on your careers and how you work, is that you really use all the benefits of today. Like, you use the internet really well. You have a video that's been viewed 15 million times. You release like 4 or 5 videos on one album. Back in the 80s, only Michael Jackson could do that, for instance.
Yeah, I think our videos are way more cheaper than those of Michael Jackson, actually.
Well, they look way better, I must say. No, you know what I mean, right? You really use all the potential of the internet. You use the potential of creating videos.
I'm glad that we don't.
Yes, but it's good to hear the opposite. But I think we are pretty moderate in terms of using like social media. I think there's lots of bands who do this more, and I'm sure that it's
better, maybe.
Yeah.
Also.
It's just we are happy to share like information about our music and thank the people who came to our shows, but we don't really feel like getting up in the morning and telling people
Hey,
what we had for breakfast.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's something that is, I think bands feel a little more obliged, I think, to share a lot of information, to be like, to constantly be present somehow. Yeah. And somehow we really try, and sometimes we have to fight because we just try to keep it the way that we feel comfortable with. And I would say that that is like the minimum of I don't know, output on the internet somehow.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we feel happy with an acoustic video, we're happy to share it, of course. And yeah, it's just we just look at everything very carefully, no matter if it's a video or a Facebook post or yeah.
Are you actually in touch with your fans? I mean, of course, people can send you mails nowadays, and they have an opinion on everything you do.
We don't reply on the posts, but we really like to talk to them after the concerts, and we do this as often as it's possible, and that's what we really like. Yeah.
So that's really cool. Hey, a couple of songs, and again, you know, I was thinking about your record. We were here. It does have a lot of traveling in there.
No, it doesn't.
It says we were here. That alone says you're traveling, right? Because you were all over the place as well.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's. I think this song is getting a bit misunderstood sometimes because like we were here. The song is not about the two of us traveling as a band. It's more about cherishing memories that you share with someone who maybe is no longer with you, but you still have these things that happened like forever because they were special. So that's what it's about. So it's not so much about traveling, but more about being in situations. Yeah.
Remember.
Do you think this is weird for you to talk to people about your songs? You've written them, you recorded them over and over again, you reproduced them. Finally, you released it. Probably for you, the songs are already a year and a half old. For us, they're pretty new.
Yeah.
So it must be weird to talk about, for you, older songs, right?
It's not weird, but I just think I always like sometimes I feel weird explaining songs because I think that's nice about songs, that everybody hears something else in them, and I don't think that the most interesting thing about it is what I as a person who wrote the lyrics thought in that moment. It's more like, what do you hear in it when you listen to it, and how can you put it into your own story?
You know what I always say, because we do a lot of interviews with a lot of musicians, and they always we have this discussion a lot. So when as a listener, I value music that's real, that's from the heart. I mean, everybody could write a pop song or a love song as a marketing trick, but if I know that the person who wrote this song really meant it, or it was about a real situation, then the song becomes more valuable to me.
Yeah, but I think all the songs come from a real feeling or real situation, but they are not one to one.
Or just, I think it's good to always know why you wrote a song, and because you have to have a feeling that you can relate to every night when you play it. And I think it's hard if you have to act something, but still, I think that's the freedom of somebody who writes. You can always put situations into different times or change the people or whatever. But I think it's important to know
it's still
where
a real
it came
feeling,
from.
maybe.
Yeah.
Totally different subject. Did you ever consider acting, both of you?
Never. I think I'm really bad in acting.
I don't
really.
think so.
I think so. And I
saw your video, so I disagree.
I always feel ashamed, actually.
Because I really think when I looked at the Drive Darling video, I thought, wow.
Yeah, this was fun, and the director made us feel very comfortable. And it's funny because we had to do this fighting scene where I scream at her and she screams at me. And we had a real, very strong or tough fight the night before. We shot this video so we could relate to this feeling that was very helpful on YouTube.
Must be tough on the road, though, right? I mean, if you're so close together all the time.
Well, the being on the road together is actually not tough. I think what is
being in a studio is very tough.
That I think it's more when you have, because when you're touring, you actually know what you're doing already, but when you're in the studio, you have to talk about every single note and line. We have to agree on everything, and sometimes we get into fights about those things because it's so important to each one, and we both just want the best for every song, and sometimes we don't agree, and sometimes it just takes a lot of time and talking until we find the perfect solution that works for both of us. But that's our goal, to always find something that we both like and that we are both happy with, and sometimes we fight because of that.
But you always solve it, I hope.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, I think the most horrible feeling would be to go on stage after a fight and not being okay. That would be horrible. And I think we are really good. We became really good at sorting things out quickly and not making them personal, but just making them about the thing itself. And I always know Sonja's my friend, and I want to do this with her, so that's never the question somehow.
Some bands made their best stuff with the weirdest atmospheres in the studio. I mean, even the stories that the producers pulled guns on people, you know.
Don't tell
a wall of sound.
Please.
Yeah, I think it depends on your personality. I think.
Do you look different on music now that you work together and you experience all these things? I mean, do you relate to other bands if you hear about their stories? You go like, well, hey, we've been there too.
No, it's just, I think it's really interesting to read about other studio experiences, and because of course, it's a situation that we know very well now, and it's nice to see how other people deal with those.
Sometimes I think it's easier if you are 5 people, because then there are 3 people who like something and 2, and then they go for the third or
the majority.
The majority, and for us it's sometimes hard because we are 2. And we have to decide it. There's no weight on one side, so yeah, that's sometimes hard. But I think if you get to the core of an idea or a feeling, then you are closer than if you would be 5 people, because to satisfy 5 people is way harder.
It's probably
impossible. Yeah, maybe impossible.
Hey, like I said, for you, these songs are already old. does it also mean that you are working on new material? Yeah.
No.
Not?
Not right now.
No.
No.
It's not like it never stops and the songs just keep on coming.
No, for us it's really the songwriting process and the touring process don't really mix so far. We really like to write when we're at home, and it's like a completely different state of mind. And right now we are really excited to play the new songs live, and that makes them feel really new still, because we're just beginning to play them and sharing them with the audiences. So right now I don't really feel the need for new songs yet.
Yeah. For me, it's sometimes I record ideas at home, but they don't have so much to do with Boy, but it's just ideas which I want to keep or record.
Could you actually write songs for other people as well?
For what?
Could you write songs for other people, other bands?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Did you do that?
No, I mean I have a lot of songs on my computer.
Are there actually any bands that you would like to write a song for?
No, not no. Because if I admire someone or an artist, then I'm like, I would never dare to write for someone. But if someone whose voice I like or who has something to tell or has a story to tell, I would of course try it and try to give something to that. But
What sort of music do you listen to yourself?
really different.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yeah. It's always if you get asked. Like right now, I like Beach House a lot. I like. Can you tell it first?
If you have to think about it too long.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't listen so much to music right now. I don't know why actually. I started to read again.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What are you reading?
I'm reading all books of Martin Suter right now because I didn't know him before, and I started to read one, and I think he's a really good writer, and he's from Switzerland.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What holds the near future for you girls?
Right now, the next few months we will be touring, so we're going to for the rest of the year we'll be mostly in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and then next year we don't know yet. There's nothing we can talk about definitely, but we would love to travel a lot, and it looks like that's what we'll be doing.
Are you looking forward?
Yes, a lot. Yeah.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.